How you doing, Ellie? We're headed. I'm just south of Indianapolis, about 72 miles from Louisville, Kentucky. Interstate 65 heading south. Uh, I won't make it by the time my drive shift's over. Headed to Macon, Georgia, with a load of Tyson chicken, and I did not know that Sarah Lee bought out Sarah Tyson Chicken bought out Sarah Lee, and Sarah Lee here in America is famous for its pound cake. Oh my God, they're good pound cakes. You take a Sara Lee pound cake and some fresh strawberries, you smash them up a bit, put that on top of the pound cake with some whipped cream. The women love it. This is my first live stream of 2025. Don't know if it's my last, but there were a lot of things in motion that a lot of people they know about, but they don't know every detail of everything that's in motion right now. And the uncertainty really gets to people, certain people. I don't understand what you mean by that, Ellie. Oh, angry grandpa. Yeah, he's been passed away like 4 or 5 years ago, but he's still real popular. And a lot of us that watched him religiously, we miss him. Yes, he was a great human being. You know, he would remind you of your uncle or maybe a parent that you once had. And deep down, all beneath all that bullshit, it was a good-hearted man. He was just like any other Southern boy that grew up in his time. I'm doing this mostly to let everybody know that just because now it's not the country, it's those who are in charge that have the power and make the decisions for us, which we have no say unless we come out publicly like this in a forum and state them. Even this administration that we've lived through for 4 years does not speak for me. I got somebody in the background. Hi, Sammy. I tried it. There we go. I think I got you. Hi, Sammy. Sammy, you were muted.
Morning.
Oh, now I can hear you. There we go.
How are you?
Yeah, a lot of people may run away from me and what I talk about in my live streams, but it's to help, not hurt. I'm not here to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm not here necessarily taking a side. If I'm on anybody's side, it would be the massive majority of the population of this planet, not just my own country, but the majority of the population of this planet. Why? Because we're all similarly situated.
Hi, Jesse. I know you like to come up, Jesse, but you're in work. Be safe at work, Jesse.
Some may be better off than others, but as the old saying in the old West goes, there are two sips from an empty teacup.
Hello, Kuya Beaker.
Yeah, I checked in and finally got my time back where I can do a live stream again, so I don't run out of time.
Guys, please share the live stream. Uncle. Uncle Samo.
But if Americans and people of the world that think of America, if you think we have a democracy, it's all illusionary. Now,
Here we go again. We're talking again about government. Oh my gosh, Kuya San.
what? Oh no, I'm talking about a form of government. We're supposed to have freedom and democracy and all those wonderful things, but only certain states believe in direct democracy, like Oregon, where they leave a decision up to the people to decide by majority vote. See, decisions are made for us on our behalf, and I don't like that. I believe in direct democracy. If there's a certain issue, whatever it is, let the people decide. But of course, those billionaires that are in power aren't going to allow that. And as I said, a lot of people run away from it. Or they're not allowed to talk about it. Sure, you're allowed to talk about it. It's my live stream. If anybody gets punished, it would be me. And I tell them the same thing. I'm trying to stay in the confines of the YT's rules, of their policy. Other than that, people should be able to talk whatever they wish. But our government got rid of DEI, so there's no longer going to be any fact checking anymore. I believe it's on Facebook, but I haven't been on Facebook in almost 5 years, except for the Messenger. But I don't use Facebook until Mark Zuckerberg decides to pay me. Then I'll probably, have a thing there on Facebook. But other than that, nah. Smoky Bear, right there in the middle there. I don't know why my screen is doing that. No, just leave that. Screw it.
Change the topic, please. I don't like to talk about politics, and then I don't like to hear
It's not
about
politics. It's not politics.
Fine.
You may define it as politics, but technically it's not politics. Politics is talking about, oh, my political candidate has a bigger dick than yours. That's talking politics, but I'm not. You're saying that that political party is crappier than that political party, or not better than mine, or talking, but talking about issues, it's not politics. I talk about the grand scheme of things. But politics can be very important.
Whatever. Do whatever you want because this is your live stream and this is your channel. There's nothing I can do. I'm just
Yeah, like I
recommending
said,
though.
if it is politics and people define it, then let them punish me. because that's who they'll turn to. But see, that's what let's call it this way: the 1% on this planet, the rich people that are so disgustingly rich. They want it that way. They don't want us to become friends. They don't want us talking to one another. Why? Because they don't want a worldwide revolution against them, is what it is. And basically, that's what it is. They want to secure their wealth and keep you right where you are. And I try not to get anybody to talk about it. Well, I do. Because the only way to fix a problem is to identify it. Just like if you're sick, you go to the doctor, he sticks a thermometer in your mouth and saying, well, your temperature's normal, so you must be okay. It's at that point you'd think, I think I need to go see another doctor. It's like alcoholics. Taking the first step is knowing that they have a problem. But running from the issue isn't going to help. And if Sammy's still here, Sammy, if I'm talking politics that people don't like, it's me if I were to talk about transsexuals or gay people in a negative way. Now that's distasteful. I wouldn't do that. I'm just pointing that out. But you never hear me talk about that because you got people on YT that make many videos and use religion how bad it is and this and that and the other thing. You never hear me say that or do that because picking on a stereotype like that does not solve the issues that we all face and that we all feel. The economy, yes, we all feel it. There's no escaping it. And running away from the issue does not help. And just blindly going by your life and thinking that everything's just fine and these things aren't happening, I got real bad news for you. I mean, you'd be amazed at what people talk about here in the truck stops, or like, oh, what I heard on the news, or what you hear from other channels on YouTube. It's nuts. Like the wildfires currently ravaging LA, Western LA. You got people in politics pointing the finger at other people, blaming something that had nothing to do with the wildfire, what started it in the first place. They do that because they don't want to address the root cause issue of what caused it. Well, when you're in the worst drought in a century, and it's very dry there, creates a powder keg, something could start a fire and it go up in a blaze like that. And people that talk about, whose fault it is, instead of talking about the victims that just lost everything. They lost their house, they lost every, you know, irreplaceable heirlooms that have probably been in the family for hundreds of years. See, that's where you're wrong, Sammy. You think you're going by what you think I'm saying. But sitting and not talking about something does not help either. You just pretend that there's not a problem. But everybody just throws that word politics out there. I could be talking about, food or, like how Americans will eat anything. If you were cooking raccoons' assholes on a stick, if you put them on a stick and spread butter on them and salsa, Americans would buy them and eat them. then right there, it was, oh, you're talking politics. You keep throwing that word out there, nobody can talk about nothing. But you go on YT and look at all the thousands upon thousands of videos, people who really talk politics. And does it solve the problem? No, but it addresses it. They nibble around the edges. Me, I go to the core issue. Me, I don't complain about it. I point it out and then I give you solutions. Like in your country, Sammy, and any other country. That's what I was told. When you visit a country, if you want to understand the politics, the culture, the art, and the music, you better have a basic understanding of the production and distribution of the surplus. That is called class analysis. You do that first, then you get more of a clear understanding of how people conduct themselves, how people are. It's a very logical way of looking at things. But no, let's just run away from it because you feel like I'm doing this and that and I'm hurting your feelings. Not at all. I haven't said anything that hurt anybody's feelings. If I did, it would be probably another American who fully understands what I'm saying because they know you can't run from it. It's still there. Sammy, I have no clue what you're talking about. People are free to come and go as they please. I don't want to hold anybody to force them to be on my live stream. If they want some real information and learn something, then I'm your man. If you want to run from it and not listen to it, then don't attend. But at least I'm putting something out there, recording me saying that what's going to happen, I have nothing to do with because I didn't get to vote on it and I had no say in it. And I'm not going to sit here and be complicit about it either. I'm not one of those Americans that is complicit and not going to say anything about sending arms to a country that's wiping out a race of people right now. My government's made that decision, not mine. Now, my Palestinian friends and most of my Muslim friends in the Middle East know whose side I'm on. But I bring up important things, and if people want to change the subject and talk about something else, then they would have remained up here on my panel and talked about something else. My channel is open forum. Open forum. You can come in here and talk about anything if you want. It does not bother me. Because me, I like to hear other people's opinion and try to help them with it. If it's something that I know, because I'm not going to feed people bullshit. I'm not going to say things that are going to be sugar coated and make people feel good when they should be alarmed that what our government does can very well impact your country too and drag you into something that you don't want to be a part of. Do you think I'm all giddy and happy That my president-elect wants to invade Canada and Mexico and steal Greenland from Denmark? Makes a man want to drink. Well, an honest one like me. So I'm supposed to blindly go along with that, even though I got a lot of Canadian friends, and tell them, screw you. Is that what I'm supposed to do? But see, I'm not, Ellie, I'm not blaming Israel for it. I'm blaming their leadership that is making those decisions for everybody else. Because the Israeli citizens, and a lot of them, are in protest of this. They object to it. I didn't mention, them being Jewish or anything else of them being Semitic people. I mentioned nothing. I point to the core issue, the leadership who make decisions and without the say of the people. And to me, that's not a democracy. That's a dictatorship or authoritarianism. That's what that is. With the illusion of democracy, because you get to vote for uh, brand A or brand B. I like Europe. Europe, they have six, some of them have 12 different political parties to vote for. But we here in America, we don't have that crap. We know better. Two's enough. Two's enough just to know that it could be bought off by the capitalist elite. They can buy off both parties and they're still going to get what they want. And that's why nothing changes. And it seems like the only friend that I have that totally understands me is Floren, and he's from Germany. He told me, I feel pity for you, Sean, because he totally understands what I'm going to be going through, and many other Americans. It's time for humanity to grow up and take a next step into our evolution. What do I mean by that? Is making the human race and the planet more comfortable lit to live for everybody, not just a tiny minority. And if Sammy wanted to pay attention, I'm concerned with everybody, not just myself. I'm not self centered. What do I mean by that? I want everybody that's a living, breathing human being to have a roof over their head, to have food in their mouth every day, and have clothing on their back. Just the basic things to have a life and live comfortably. But we don't have that in my country. If you can't pay for it, you're going to be nude, hungry, and sitting on the pavement outside. So, what's the human thing to do? It's like what the famous George Carlin said when we were asked, where do we get our rights from? And he goes, and usually somebody stands up and said, "Oh, they're God-given rights," and it's like, "Oh, okay." I don't believe that they were God-given rights. It sounds more like human rights, that it was created by a human being. Because if God gave us our rights, He would have made sure you had the right to food every day. He would have made sure you had a roof over your head. God would have been looking out for us. So our rights don't come from Him. They can be inspired, but no. But most Americans are led by buzzwords. Politics is one of those buzzwords. People come up with their own. You ask them, you just throw out one buzzword like uh, republic, and you want to know what? You won't get the same answer. You'll get a fruit salad of answers. And then when you look it up in its history of what a republic is, people throw here in America throw that around like it means something, or it has to mean something, or they act like they know what it means, but it doesn't. What they're thinking. All republic means is we're not ruled by a monarch. That's it. The reason why they throw it out there because it sounds like authority. It sounds important. But I know people hear all kinds of crap, you name it, from different channels on YT. Why? Because out of boredom, I'll check out this channel, listen to them, what they got to say, and then when they fall off the rocker, that's when I usually give up. I try to leave a comment saying, you need to reevaluate your criticism on this over here, and look at this. But people want to feel too comfortable in their way of thinking. Now, sometimes their way of thinking might be the right way to go or a good way to go, better than what any other ideas that anybody else has come up with. Because I hope I got a lot of foreigners in here to listen to this. America is not what it once was. Not even close. Now we got Americans that are pretending that we're just like we were after World War II. I'm sorry to tell you this, but no, we are far from that. We don't have the world influence or the world under our thumb like we used to. America does not have the power we once did. And we weren't designed to be an empire to begin with. The ideas of America was if you're not going to help and lift these people up, then leave them alone. It goes to the old Southern saying if you're not going to help, don't hurt. Like what my government is doing over in the Middle East. We're not going to help. We're going to try to pretend that we're helping these people, but we're going to continue to send arms to one country that's got all the bullets, guns, bombs, and planes and bomb the shit out of these innocent people. People call it a war. I'm like, really? This is one hell of a war that I've never seen before. To me, it's all one-sided. Every day when I go to the news source I go to, I hear every day it's the same thing. The casualty reports of how many people died, how many were children, what hospitals were left that haven't been bombed yet. But you ever hear a casualty report on the other side like you would in a normal war? How many IDF soldiers got shot and killed or wounded yesterday or in the past few months? None. Wow, amazing. Oh, and I wonder why that is. Well, you got to look at who's been living in an open air prison, who has all the weapons, tanks, bullets, bombs, and guns and planes, and who's only got rocks to throw. If they have a rock, I don't consider that a war. No, no, no. That, using the right language, is called genocide. And I point out if it smells like a duck, quacks like a duck, it must be a duck. And when I die, I can stand before the man and I can say, I did not approve the killing of these people. That was done decisions out of my power, out of my say. And those who did have going to have a lot to answer for because we don't live forever. Yeah, you may have gotten lots of money, lived very comfortably on this planet, but it's only temporary and it doesn't last. And you can't take it with you. The only thing in Australia, the advice I give them, get out of the G7 and join the BRICS because that's your future. Not only that, where your country is located is right next to the heart of BRICS. Get out of the G7 because without the Chinese, your economy would collapse. The Chinese buy your steel, they buy your coal, they buy a lot of things from Australia. So that right there should point in the direction that Australia should go in. If you want my honest economical opinion, join the BRICS and get out of the G7. But no, those in power don't want to cooperate. They want chaos. They want to separate us. They want us to hate one another, like Sammy hates me. They want to put Sammy there. They don't want us to come together because it's that old thing: divide and conquer. Ellie, let me give you a word of advice when it comes to somebody's life. We don't get to choose our parents. We don't get to choose what color they are. We don't get to choose what race they are. We don't get to choose what country we're born in. We don't get to choose any of that. It's all decided for us. We come into this world, it just happens by random. That's why people say that they're proud to be this, they're proud to be that. How could you be proud of a genetic freaking accident? You can be happy, sure, but pride Pride is reserved for those who accomplish something on their own, not something that happens at accident at birth. That's using logic. Sure, if I was born in a different country of a different race, then I'd probably be acting accordingly. I wouldn't be the same person I am right now. But logic tells you, why am I treating people, another human being different because they look different, or they have a different religion, or they have a different orientation, or whatever they self-identify, or anything else? Some of my greatest friends are not the same races that I am. People that I've learned from that sort of shaped who I am today were not born in the same country as me. But in the grand scheme of things, you look at the people of Japan, you look at the people of the United States, you look, I don't care what country you're in, you look at them and you wonder, well, what they're similarly situated like I am. Maybe a little different, but not too much different. But me, I haven't accomplished it, but I'm trying to have a free mind, a true free mind. But you can't accomplish that. Nobody can. The reason why you cannot accomplish a total free mind is because we've been a product of influence our whole lives. Just like the American culture influenced me since birth here in my country and the country that you are born in. You're influenced, not free of thought. When you make the first steps to try to have free thought, is to throw away what you were taught to believe and accept without question. And you start reading and learning it for yourself and think of things actually critically and not be afraid to ask questions. And when something doesn't jive, you get your answer pretty quickly. For those who are here and that care, Darren Dobson hopped on a plane over 24 hours ago. So, well, a little over 24 hours ago. So it was at like 4:30. It was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 28 hours ago. Right now, he probably touched down maybe 10 hours ago, and he's probably in his hotel asleep or trying to sleep. But I will not tell you where he is. If you know Darren, you can venture a few guesses, but your first guess will be wrong. He won't be there I think, tomorrow for the United States. He'll be over there where you think he'll be with his wife, yes. But he's currently not there yet. He made a stopover, and I'm hoping that he may not go live, but he was going to release some short videos for y'all to enjoy. But Jesse, that Sammy may think that I'm insulting her right now, but it's not, and you know that I'm not. But Sammy has a problem of hearing something and defining it totally not what I'm saying. She defines things totally different, and it's like that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. And I've been trying to fix that. It's like, Sammy, I didn't say that, or that's not what I'm saying. You're defining things totally different than what I really am. And I try to tell her anybody can talk about anything and say it's politics. And it's like, well, shit, we can't talk about anything now, can we? Her definition of politics is probably totally different than mine. To me, politics is this: arguing over an issue like gay rights, making marijuana illegal, which a lot of states had already done that. That's politics. That's how I define it. I'm not arguing over any issue. I'm pointing it out, but I'm not making a judgment on it either. I'm pointing out that, yeah, they took away their rights that they once had briefly in certain states. And me, it's a foolish argument. It's all a facade. So you start thinking about gay and trans people instead of thinking about to make sure that you're not thinking of the core issue that I bring up. They don't want you to think about the economic system in which we live because that's the core issue that's provoked all of this crap. All this other bullshit that they talk about politics is a distraction. So you don't talk about the core issue, which I do. People don't realize, and it was a boring subject, economics, but they didn't realize economics has control over everybody's lives and how it's shaped. And talking bad about the Chinese, that can be viewed as political. But I point out to people, why are you talking bad about the Chinese people or any other type of people of that for that anyway? If anybody should be angry, it should be they should be having a lot of anger towards my country, not to the people per se, but to the ones who are making all the decisions for us. Because the Chinese don't parade around the globe with their military and threaten people and rape a small country of their resources. Americans do that. But and yet here in America they try to, which a lot of people aren't buying that bullshit because there's a lot of population of Chinese people here. You name it, we got every culture and race on this planet represented in the United States. That's what the United States was designed to be, the world's fruit salad. Every race, color, creed, religion is represented equally. That's what our country was designed to be. Not by a bunch of old white guys who are lucky they're going to be living in the next 10 years to make all the decisions for us that we're going to have to live with after they die. And we just have to live with that decision. And I'm like, no. When it comes to climate, if you're 70 years or older, you have no vote because you're not going to be on this planet very much longer and you're not going to have to face those consequences. My children are, and my grandchildren. They're going to see that shit. So what are we going to do? Not all of us are parents, but I am. I don't just think about my own children, but all the other children that have kids, my people that have kids, my children's age. They're going to be living at the same time as them. What are we going to leave them? Are we going to leave them in a halfway decent, livable world with hopes for the future? Or are we going to continue blindly going along and not talk about it to make other people feel good about themselves and leave them in a cesspool? Me, my parents and grandparents did not necessarily know what kind of world they were leaving me in and my siblings. And to know about it and to not talk about it. They would want me to talk about it, especially my grandparents, because they fully understood. But I hate to pick on them, but I'm not. But the boom generation is like that. They had everything handed to them. They had every opportunity, especially here in the United States. They had all the opportunities laid out for them that was there. And they complain about the younger generation. And I tell them, you must understand that these generations, like mine, Gen X, the millennials, Gen Z, and the alphas coming up, they didn't have that same opportunity. See, those boomers went to college and they had a good, they got the education, they did what they were supposed to do, and it thrusted them in the middle class. Does that still go on today? No, it doesn't. You go to our National Bureau of Economic Research and Labor Statistics, it's gone up now. Six out of 600 graduates every year, and late May and June is the graduation time for the colleges. Those who graduate with a degree, only one out of 600 will get that job that'll thrust them in the middle class, like the baby boomers got. The rest of them, good luck at working as a barista at Starbucks. That's what our economy is showing us. Now, people know why the millennials act weird or anything else. Yes, because they're not a part of your generation. I'm not a boomer, I'm Gen X. But I was born in the earlier years of Gen X. I can understand the boomers because two of my eldest sisters are boomers, and I can understand the millennials because my niece was born right at the beginning of the millennials. And the millennials can understand the Gen Zers. Why do you think the 80s was one of the greatest explosions of music ever in the history of music? The 80s. Why? Because we Gen Xers knew we were going to get screwed. That's why we were the ones that really started the rebellion, because we knew it. We knew we weren't going to live better. Because in 1980, a lot of us were still little kids then. We saw what happened to a lot of the boom generation that didn't quite get retired yet, that reached retirement age, but it was still going to be there for them. We saw a lot of good paying jobs washed away. And we were worried, and we were supposed to pretend that it was still going to be there for us. Well, half of the Gen Xers will tell you it wasn't. And it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. It doesn't get any better. I don't know about your country, but here in the United States, we are not the country that we once were. Uh, the boomers have totally dried up that titty that they've been sucking on since after their parents ended World War II. That was our the American hegemony. Yes, we got bombed in Pearl Harbor, but that's the only bombs we saw. Everybody else was getting their country bombed the shit out of everywhere, except for here. And as you destroy all your world competition, all your capitalist companies in our country thrived on that. That's why we had an explosion. That's why the American dollar became the world's reserve currency. That's going to change. Not yet, but it's coming. Can't do much with being $36 trillion in debt. That's a lot of zeros, if you know what I'm talking about. And by the time this next president comes out, I estimate it's going to be well over 40 trillion. And you got to look who's rising economically without military force that we keep threatening everybody with. That's why, Ellie, if you're still here, that's why I tell Australia to join the BRICS. And here's why. You look at their GDP versus the G7's GDP. The G7, which is the United States, Australia, Japan, Western Europe, our GDP is 28.8% combined. The BRICS, 33.8 and growing. So where do you think the direction the wind's blowing in? Doesn't take rocket science to figure that one out. Now, I'm not an advocate that we should be like the Chinese, but identify that they're onto something. The Chinese, if you're looking for economic growth and to lift 800 million people, that's a lot of people. There's only 338 million that live in the United States. 800 million people out of extreme poverty in less than 40 years. No other country had ever achieved that. They did. So when you look at the pudding and you look at the proof, you're like, they were onto something here. 1948, they had their revolution. They ousted Chiang Kai-shek, who went into exile over in Taiwan, which was a part of China. And they said, well, we'll just leave them alone. We'll do our own thing. China was one of the poorest countries and backwards country this world has ever seen in 1948. Now do the math. Look at where they are now in 80 years. But they achieved it long before that. They achieved it in 1980. Because the mass of people are sick and tired of being a poor or amongst the poorest countries on the face of the earth, and rightfully so. So they went in a direction that lifted 800 million people out of extreme poverty. Wow. And yet, my government wants to demonize these people. That's why I'm telling you, the Chinese are far more humanistic than we'll ever be. I wouldn't say less regulation. They just run things differently. They saw what happened to the Soviet Union, and they realized why the Soviet Union collapsed and what caused it. They addressed it and say, we need to go in a different direction that they did, but similar. Because you got to understand the Soviet Union. How in the world after World War II did they become a superpower equivalent to the United States? Not in words of GDP, But what were they were able to accomplish? Because we were the world's reserve currency, and we had more say than everybody else after the war, and rightfully so. We kept the Soviet Union out of it because we didn't want a competitor. Now we're trying to do the same thing to the Chinese, but it's too late. But you got to figure out the British was doing that to us because they knew we were the rising power and they were a fading one, like all empires throughout history. The Roman Empire, the Dutch, the Ottoman, you name them all. They're all gone. There's still some people in England think that the English is still an empire because they still have the monarchy. Well, the British does not have the power and say that it once did. They pretend to, some of them, but not all of them. They lost it long ago. So that's why they became a partner in the United States, because they know that the United States was going to be the big voice for a while. And our rich elite in this country took advantage of that. They went in a direction that a lot of reasonable Americans and critical thinkers like me would have went in a totally different direction. We wouldn't have led by sending in our Navy and then, threaten people with our military. I like the Chinese idea. Got a couple of like the English would say, you got a couple of strapping young lads that look great in a suit and know their craft. You send them over to another country and you talk to their government. And what they do is they said, like, what they did in Eritrea and a bunch of African countries. We see that you need some roads and you need modern telecommunications and you could use some ports. And we'll do all this for free. Because they're highly educated people and a lot of their scientists sense that there was a lot of oil underneath those countries that they were talking to. And later on, it was found out they did. And the Chinese went to them and said, can we drill for your oil? And we'll give you a percentage of the profits. Sure. You gave us technology, you built our roads, you built the supports, you lifted us out of the third world. Sure. That's how they did it. How do the Americans do it? Well, first time we demonize the people, and then you demonize their leader if they don't want to cooperate. And then you send the CIA agents over there to start a revolution if they can, to separate the people from one side to the other. And then you send in our military to try to help the one side take over the other so we can come in and rape them of their resources and they have no say. That's how we handle things. Except for a few countries where we got our ass beat. Vietnam was one of them. Korea was another. Korea is what started it. Managed to keep them separate, where there's a North and South Korea. Tried the same thing in Vietnam, but that wasn't going to work. Tried it with Afghanistan. Hell, the Taliban controlled more of the country than before we went in. Tried it with Iraq. Didn't work. Sure, we stole their oil for a few years, but not so much anymore. I'll tell you one country that's sitting pretty, and that's the Saudis. Because they're dealing with the people in the G7, or the BRICS. And our government didn't like that. Because they want you to deal in dollars only. Not happening anymore. Yeah, see, our CEOs of the three major oil companies here in America thought that they hit pay dirt when they blew up the XL pipeline, the Russians' pipeline to Europe to power the Europeans. That's why the Germans figured it out really quickly and they're pissed at us, and rightfully so. We're no longer, because of we're going to use the Ukrainian thing as an excuse to sanction Russia to where Europe can't get the cheap oil and gas from Russia and get it from us for an inflated rate. And they thought that was going to crush Russia. Nope. Russia just found other customers, the people in the G7. And has the ruble collapsed? Not at all. It's actually improved, actually. And those that are in charge over here in the United States don't understand that. They think because of this we can rule and we control everything like we used to. Not anymore. And a lot of Americans are pretending that they did not hear what I just told you. And a lot of the older ones, my age or older, are going to have to come to terms and stop pretending and being in denial. That we ended up becoming an empire reluctantly that I didn't want to be a part of, and we're fading into that good night to replace by another. But believe it or not, the Chinese don't want to be that. They can, but they don't want to. They don't want to polarize the world like we did. In truth, they want to unify it. They want everybody to work cooperatively, which sounds like a good idea, don't you think? Like I told you, when I go over to China, a lot of the men I talk to, they want three things. Let's do business. Where can I gamble? And where are the women? That's it. If China has any problem, that's one thing that I discovered. They have a massive gambling problem over there. But I'm not judging them, but I'm pointing out an issue, which is bad. Now, like, because I've identified it because my brother Jack has a serious gambling issue. That's why he lost his first two wives, because he had a serious gambling issue. And I looked up to my older brother. I still do. I told him, Jack, you have nothing to be ashamed about. We all have our vices. Yours is just a little more extreme and costs you, your wives. But that can be fixed. And you taking the first step to go on to Gamblers Anonymous is that. And he needed to stop following his college buddies on a yearly trip out to Vegas. That was another reason why I hated that city. I don't know the total, but I do know my brother lost a lot of money. The only reason I started to enjoy going to Vegas is because of some of the clubs they have there that I thought were really cool. They got karaoke and everything. Not everybody speaks English in the places I patronized, but they understood me. But like I said, if you're a person and you like to be sociable, human beings, every scientist will tell you that. Every doctor will tell you that. We were designed to be sociable, not living like hermits, thinking that we're happy. Are you happy, eh? Not seeing anybody, living like a hermit, hardly seeing anybody? That would be me almost. Sure, I'm out here in public, but I'm confined to myself in my mobile jail cell. That's a joke. But I'm a social butterfly. I may not know you, and we're all in a club. I'd come up and introduce myself and say hello. How you doing? Life going good for you? You having a good time? That's why we have a young generation that don't know how to be sociable, and they have what they call anxiety, and they have to get these service pets to help them with that. The only way they can be sociable, and this is the cure. Like, look, you're on the internet talking to all these people. The only difference is you're not talking to them face to face in the flesh. That's the only difference. There's nothing to be afraid about, unless you want to talk a lot of shit like the trolls. Because if they pulled half the shit in the person that they did, they would probably have their teeth knocked out of their mouth. That or go to the hospital and get facial reconstructive surgery. And I don't wish that on anybody. I detest violence. But if I feel threatened and or you hit me, what do you think is going to happen? I'm going to hand you a dozen roses? No, I'm going to defend myself. And I'd expect everybody to be the same way. But I know people come back and watch the replay. There's some people who enjoy that, hearing what I say, I guess. I don't know. But Jesse, I wanted to point that out, that here's a lot of your baby boomers. Okay, now your boomers next year will be totally retirement age. All your boomers, because the last year is 1964. Because the last boomers at the stroke of the New Year's, the last of the boomers are 60 years old and no younger, and 65 is the retirement age. But a lot of them are saying the same thing about the younger generation. That's bullshit. Oh, they don't want to work, and they always have an excuse for the economic system. Well, you got to start somewhere. Yes, you do. But they weren't handed a middle class job at the start and get mandatory raises every 6 months with full health care and vacation time as the years go on. They didn't get that because that don't exist anymore. And we expect these kids to be stupid enough, but we want them to go to college and everything. We expect these kids to be stupid enough to passively accept a shitty paying job that's going to keep them in still abject poverty. Nobody is going to work their ass off and still live in abject poverty. It's not going to happen. That's why you got people working 3 or 4 jobs and they're still living in abject poverty. They're not going to live better than their grandparents or parents. The only way that's going to happen is people coming together and realizing we need to identify where the change need to be made. And it needs to be made in our economic system because nobody talks about it. We do, some of my economic colleagues, because we know that's the root cause right there. We're going to be living through the death of our economic system because it's damn should be dead by now. Because we're not growing. Our situation's not gotten any better, ever. And unless you're in the stock market and you got millions of shares, well, yeah, then everything's going to look good for you. But if you're the mass of Americans and just your average Joe American, Things have been shitty for the past 50 years and has not gotten better. That's a UPS plane coming in for a landing. This is downtown Louisville. Hopefully Sammy's still here. I'm in Kentucky, by the way, Sammy. I just got in here. As soon as you cross that bridge back there into Louisville here, you're in Kentucky. Kentucky rain makes me feel down. I could never sing that one. Sammy can, though. But it's not raining. There's not a cloud in the sky. The sun's out. Colder than a witch's tit, though. 26 degrees. You look at it and think it's a lovely day. But no, see, I go to other people's channels and they don't have panels and they hardly read the comments in the chat. And, you know, like anything else, I learned my lesson. I'm like, well, nobody's paying attention, so I'll move on. And the only way to get to respond to a lot of it is doing it on my own channel. And say, hey, if you want to talk about these certain issues, let me help you. Because you're talking about things that are right up my alley. No, I don't know the answers to everything. Like if you want to talk about cosmology or makeup and hair and all that, I don't have a clue. And nor do I pretend like I know. But if you want to talk economics and history, oh, I'm there, dude. That's one part of my education that I highly paid attention to and didn't ignore it. Coming to a stop. Damn. Can't get past that airport traffic. If it's not an accident, here's the issue with this. There's people in my lane, in the center lane here, that are wanting to get off at the next exit. So they get to the end there and expect to be let in, so they'll stop everybody in this lane to get over. Instead of getting over, because that's what all these people are waiting in line for in the right-hand lane, is to get off the exit. That's why the left lane, you know, it's running slow, but it's moving. And at the same time, there's the on-ramp, the people trying to get on the interstate. People are slowing down, letting them in, making people come to a stop, which is not a good idea. I don't think he's here, but Jeeps would know exactly where I'm at, because over to my right is the University of Kentucky. And their football stadium is at those lights you see up there. That's, I believe, the baseball or softball field, but in the distance is the stadium for the football games and soccer. And then beyond that stadium, you see, well, you can see it. Over there to my right, you see the backside of the bleachers where people sit. On the other side of that stadium is a huge parking lot where they have a truck show called MATS, the Mid-American Truck Show. Oh, this is what's holding everybody up. He's broke down. The Mid-American Truck Show, I used to go there almost every year. But everything fell to shit, and people started not getting along, and it unfolded. And we did a lot of charity work there. We had a drag show that I was a part of. I ended up winning the first one. And I'm like, why me? I look like Phyllis Diller's cousin. But I had fun, though, and it was for a good cause. We raised a lot of money. But on the other side of that is the parking lot for the stadium, where we have the truck show. And just beyond that is the Kentucky Derby, where all the richest, wealthiest people in the world meet up once a year for a horse race. And then to the left of the Kentucky Derby is the airport. So they don't. So the rich that fly in don't have to take a long car ride. They leave the airport. They drive 2 blocks and they're right there. Yeah, parking lot here to my right. That's where the truck show's held every year. But I haven't gone shit in probably 7 years. But I used to go every year. Set up a few flatbeds, make a nice stage, have karaoke, have a ball, barbecue, oh, you name it. But some people wanted to do some stupid things and make a lot of truckers look bad and take distasteful things. Sure, it was funny, but at the time, but the repercussions of that wasn't good and just gives us a bad name and doesn't help us at all. But I wasn't a part of what they did because I'd have been like, I'm not doing it, guys. You go ahead. And a lot of them did. And they didn't think about the repercussions of what could have happened afterward. They came out here to the interstate, stood up on the bridge there to my right, and they dropped their pants and mooned everybody driving by. Everybody was tooting the horns and everything because I was hearing a bunch of horns, and I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, they're all up there mooning the people on the highway. I'm like, what the hell are they doing that for? And I'm like, that's indecent exposure. But I left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. I mean, I was laughing, but I'm like, can find other things to do with our time than do stupid shit like that, guys. Come on. And I even told them, I mean, folks, what would have happened if a bunch of old folks were driving in their car and saw that, and you gave them a heart attack, and there was a massive accident that happened because of it? Or Granny sees something that she hasn't seen in probably 50 years, and it gave her a heart attack or a stroke. Yeah, there was like I think anywhere between 20 to 30 of them that went up there and did that. And we all know each other, not really well, but we know of each other. So for about maybe 1,000 feet or more, you saw a bunch of bare ass cheeks. Maybe a couple of nut sacks that gave people a pressed fruit bowl, which is another ridiculous thing. It's funny, but I wouldn't do it. That's like, come on, guys. Some of you guys are older than me. You know, I mean, that was something stupid shit we did when we were in college in our 20s, but no. And then I got to explain that to my kids. Dad, how dare you? Even the news was talking about it. You're out there flashing your bare behind to the highway traffic, and you're my daddy. You got to set the example now for your kids. Sure, they talked about it. And Dad, was that what was? Were you out there? I'm like, no, I wasn't out there. And I asked them. I said, "Would you? Any one of you kids would have done that?" And they were quiet. They were like, "No, I wouldn't have done it either." I'm like, exactly. What makes you think your dad's going to do it? Sure, it's for kids. It's funny to see adults act like children. Some some of us don't want to grow up. We still want to be a Toys R Us kid, and it means just that. Yeah, you put me. Yeah, well, they don't exist anymore, but yeah, you give me in a Toys R Us with my kids. Oh yeah, I'm acting like a Toys R Us kid, but I still have to act like the adult there. Dad, Dad, what are you doing? What are you sniffing the Elmer's glue for? You're not supposed to do that. But, oh my God, Mom, look what Dad did to the slinky. Y'all can use your imagination with that one. Oh, those were the days. I'm hoping, God willing, I can make it to Nashville at the TA in Antioch and somehow try to get a hold of Emotion because I know the roads are clear now. Thank God. I can buy dinner. Meet up with somebody from YT. That'd be cool. But from here is when it's starting to get mountainy too. Not in the flat territory anymore. As soon as you get south of Louisville, you're in there in them foothills. That's how they say it. They get down by the Petro I'm going to stop at. That's when it starts to get mountainy. Need to tighten that strap down there, driver. Shouldn't be flapping in the wind like that. And you ain't going to want one of those containers to slip on that. But if Sammy's still here, I wish it did rain here, and so do the people that live here. Because if it rains, it would melt all that damn snow that's everywhere. And Jesse, if you're still here, Sammy's not going to talk about that. She probably didn't hear me because she'd be sending me messages on the messenger. And what would they say? Fuck you, Sean. I'd be like, why would she say that? I didn't say anything bad about her. I appreciate her coming up here, mostly being on mute, but at least she showed up. She didn't have to leave, but like I said, I don't force anybody to do anything they don't want to do. But you need to realize, don't pretend that I'm saying something that hurts your feelings, in which I'm not, just because whatever it is that I talk about. But I guess that's all part of my character and the way God made me, I guess. I think of everybody else and not just myself. I'm not self centered and I'm not narcissistic. And I don't talk bad about people who are, who have that character flaw. I mean, I have my character flaws. I try to correct them if I can. But me, I try to lift people up. I don't tear them down. And I point to certain things that are touchy subjects for some people to lift them up and don't realize that that's what I'm trying to do. It's like it's good. Your way of thinking is good because you're thinking. But if you're thinking, you would understand what I'm saying and then use your own analysis. What sounds better to you? Staying in the same rotten economic system that we live through? Or taking a step in a stage with other people that want to improve everything for everybody, including those people. Because, like I said, I could live, keep up with the Joneses and, buy that big house and have a camper and a boat and all these different vehicles and all this crap that I'm never going to use because I'm busy working. I could do all that. But I'm like, what's the use? I think that comes from my father's upbringing. That comes from the Marine Corps. If you can't eat it, wear it, or live under it, it's useless. That's why my dad didn't waste money on bullshit like that. And he didn't play the game keeping up with the Joneses. Just let me get a house, have some food and some clothing, have a nice barbecue in the backyard every weekend would be nice. To me, that's living. Not having all this elaborate shit that you don't need. That's why every couple of years I get in my children's bedroom ever since they were little. And I'd get dig in their toy box and say, look, you haven't played with this in a couple of years and it's just rotting in this toy box. Let's put all the toys in a box that you don't are not interested in or are playing with anymore. Let's put this in a box here and give it to another child that'll enjoy it. Some people use that in a garage sale. Me, I'm like, nah, let's just give it away. Give it to some kids that'll enjoy it, because their parents are probably struggling with money and can't afford the money to buy it. So I'm like, look, it's used, it still works, it's nice. It's like, here, just go ahead, have a good time. And then when they're done with it, they can pass it along to another child. That's why I don't like spoiling my kids, buying them a bunch of bullshit, and they end up with a toy box, and it's overflowing in their closet, and they don't do anything with it. Well, we're going to do something with it. Because if you don't do things like that, they'll be hoarders. And I'm not a hoarder. And I'm not a pack rat. It's like, look, am I going to do anything with this? Let me give it to somebody who's going to use it. And then I reflect on, why did I even buy that thing for in the first place? Now, like my grilling tools. Well, I don't think of it that way. Yeah, I don't use them as much as I'd like. But when I'm home, I use them. Yeah, I keep passing it every time I come through here. There's a dinosaur world. I don't think I passed by it yet, but I've always wanted to go there. I know my son's been there. I've always wanted to go there just to check it out, because they got these robotic dinosaurs and they look real, and it's almost like going to a dinosaur zoo. I wanted to check that out. But if it's that same place that I've heard about, that they recreated, there's this religious group that recreated the Garden of Eden, and you see them standing there, and they make it look real. You see them standing there and enjoying the Garden of Eden, and then you see a T Rex with a saddle on it, and their belief is this: they use T Rex to open the coconuts. Now, you could probably pass that to an elementary student, and they believe it, but when you reach the adult age and you've read the Bible and you've studied it, you'd be like, I don't think that T Rex was very friendly to open up coconuts for you. No, most of the time T Rex was always hunting, and it usually hunts when it's very hungry. And you're lucky that you didn't get ate. As my friends would say, if it had appetite for your nasty ass. Well, it comes to a point where, like animals, if they're hungry enough, they'll eat anything. Just like Americans, like George Carlin said, if you were selling raccoons' assholes on a stick, Americans would buy them and eat them, especially if you smothered them in butter and put a little salsa on them. Me, that's why I try to stay away from fast food as much as possible. The only way I'm going to eat any kind of fast food is I'm going to have to be extremely hungry, and that's all there is. A lot of times I find, and I'm glad that the truck stops do this. I usually buy some of the fruit cups that they make with watermelon, pineapple, kiwi fruit, grapes. They got a bunch of different ones, and they make a lot of salad bowls that I eat. That's what I eat a lot of. Give me some of that with some Italian dressing. And it seems like the only way I can get rice, you can't get that in the truck stop. The only way you can get that is if you call up mostly Chinese restaurants, and if they deliver, that's the only way I can get rice. I usually order the dirty rice with some soy sauce, a few egg rolls, some dumplings, and some of their steamed vegetables. The steamed vegetables are mostly broccoli, cauliflower. And I'll tell you what, man, the Chinese don't know how to do it right. You ask for those steamed vegetables, man, they do it perfectly every time. Like I said, you just take some soy sauce, dump it over that. Ooh, that's good. I don't know what you missed, but you may have to go back and watch the replay, Jess. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But from now on, I'm going to try to keep mine under 2 hours. So I don't do like, only 3 live streams and use up all my free time for the month. That's why I understand now why a lot of them end after an hour or two because they don't want to use up all their StreamYard time. But just to let everybody know that can hear me and watching the replay, we are not going to have Darren Dobson on the weekends for a month. Probably not until the end of February. End of February, beginning of March. Because he's going to be busy. Let's just put it that way. And I tried contacting other people and say, hey, Darren's not going to be doing live streams. Can you do it? Trying to find somebody. Why don't you do it? I'm like, well, honestly, nobody comes to my live streams. It's not a complaint. It's just a fact. And I figured if you did it, this is what I tell them. I figured if you did it, you would draw a crowd. A lot better than I would. But let me help Sammy out a little bit. Sammy, over the years, the past 10 years, what I've learned has made me a different person. I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago. And as time progresses, like right now, people entering my live stream and that has entered my live stream. When they left, they're not the same person that entered the live stream. It has changed not only me, but everybody else. If you understand my way of thinking. Now, my way of thinking, my decision making in life, yeah, I've made some mistakes. I made some doozies. I'm not perfect, and I never claim to be perfect. However, my decisions and what I talk about and the way I am has made me who I am today. I don't consider that bad at all. Very content. I could be better, but I look at the grand scheme of things. I can't really complain. I don't like to boast, but I look at my life and I'm like, well, maybe, I wasn't the father figure that was always there every minute hovering over my kids, but I did get to see them. I got to talk to them whenever I wanted to. Whenever they had an issue, they'd call me. I'd talk to them. but supporting them, excellent. In my eyes, maybe a little too much because their mother spoils them a little too much than I would have. Because I'm always saying, stop spoiling the freaking kids so much. I don't want them to end up like my cousins did because they had everything handed to them. And then once their grandparents or parents passed away and they're broke, they're there with their hat in their hand. And it's like, when you inherited that $1 million, you didn't even want to know anybody. And we never bothered you. Now that you squandered it and have nothing to show for it and you're broke, you're coming to us with your hat in your hand. And you're supposed to be my cousin. We're supposed to be family. But you didn't treat us like family. When we were at the funeral, we were treated like, well, why are we there? And all they thought about was their inheritance. They didn't think about Annie Pat laying in that coffin at all. Only we did. And we're all looking at each other like, what the hell's wrong with these people? My mother was disgusted. And she chewed him out. She goes, that's my sister that's laying in that coffin. And all you people can talk about is this? Oh, she let him have it too. And some of them felt bad, but some of them let it go in one ear and out the other. They wanted their shit, so they can move on, do whatever it is they wanted to do with it. That's why I don't complain. Not at all. And I don't feel sorry for anybody who does not get an inheritance. Because of me, I couldn't tell you what an inheritance is because I never got one. Sure, I was supposed to. Didn't get it though. And somebody else did. Somebody else got it. And the only thing I'm angry about was when I was 8 years old, my grandmother passed away, my dad's mom. And I was supposed to, and he showed it to me. This was a nice ring. Had a bunch of diamond clusters in it. Had a 1 carat diamond in it with a bunch of other smaller ones. Nice ring. And it was an heirloom. It was from her mother. And it was willed to me. My dad was telling me this story. And he showed what my brother and sister was getting at. We never saw it again. Shortly there happened afterward, my step monster at that time took the ring that was willed to me and had all the diamonds removed out of it and mounted in another ring for her. And it was never spoken of again, and I never saw it. So when it comes to inheritances, what's that? But I did get something. Not from my grandparents, neither one of them. From my dad, my stepmother, it's a different stepmother at this time now. My stepmother handed me my dad's last pair of cowboy boots and his leather coat because she had no use for it. There was only one thing that I really wanted, and it was pretty simple. Her and her kids were not even in that video. It was a VHS tape that I wanted. Why? Because it has me at the age of 4 years old sitting in front of the Christmas tree looking up at the camera because it was an old 8mm camera back then. I don't think it had sound then, but my granddad used it. And it's got me, my siblings, my parents, grandparents, all mixed up in different events on that. That was on this VHS. It was they took the film, gave it to somebody, and he recorded it and put it on a VHS tape. DVDs didn't exist then, and my dad had that for years. It's probably all deteriorated and not operable anymore, and lost forever. I wanted that so I could have something to show my kids. This is your great grandparents. There's your aunts and uncles. There's your daddy at 4 years old sitting right there in front of the Christmas tree. But I can't do that anymore now. And that's all I wanted. My dad's boots, I gave them to my nephew because I'm sure that my dad would like to have had him because my nephew is the third generation truck driver. He was the last student I had in training. Big D. His name is Daniel. I gave him the name Big D. He's tall, same height as me. I'm glad I could share some personal information. It just gives something to talk about. One thing leads to another. You know how that happens. Oh, Jesse, did you watch Canadian Bacon? If not, you need to watch that because come January 20th, we're going to be really living that. It's sad that some of the people in that movie are no longer with us, but it's a hilarious movie. And then you look at it and you hear, go back to what we've heard in the past few weeks from our president elect, you'd be like, this is just like Canadian bacon. That comes to make me believe that I believe our president elect has never really had a real friend in his life. And now I know why. The closest friend to our country, and has been since its creation, and could be nowhere closer because you can't even tell us apart, is the people from Canada. And then want to start a fight with them. Now you know why he never had any friends, any true friends in his entire life. Because look how he treats them. And it shows. We're all playing in the sandbox and we're all friends, have been friends for hundreds of years. And then one wants to smack one of our friends and we got to take his side over the other. No, no, I'm the one that talked all the shit and did all the smacking. I'm going to grab that friend and do him a favor by dragging him to the toilet and shoving his face in it. And if that don't solve the problem, then we get more drastic measures. That's giving away Gcash. That's not my purview. I won't do that because that you'll get taken advantage of. I let everybody else who do that because they want to keep their channel monetized and this and whatnot. Me, I come here just shoot the breeze and entertain some people, give them pass along some information. We all can learn from one another because what you see, what I've been doing this past hour and 50 minutes, I'm already making a living doing that. What you're seeing through your screen. And I'm not making a mockery of people who are trying to actually, make some money out of IT. No, not at all. Now, that's a good statement, Sammy. That's true. I'm not going to say who this person is because I don't know who it is. And I'm not going to mention, let me just say that it is not you, Sammy, but an individual like you was dating somebody and at one time and made a brilliant post. I read that and I looked at it critically and I thought about it for a while and how brilliantly he typed that out. I don't know if they're still together. I think he broke up with her because what he put was brilliant. He said to her, I want to be loved, not used. And I keep reflecting on that and how much sense it made. And that's how I'd have to say the majority of us Western men feel. We want to be loved, not used. Yeah, Sammy, I may need your talents. This is a yes or no answer. Do you know how to edit video? I'm assuming you know how to do that because you're good at doing photos or whatever. Sammy, it doesn't take long to type yes or no. Do you know how to edit video? What I mean by is I give you some clips of things and you put them together and make it a video with music and because I'm getting with two of the football players on the football team and they always make their weekly video, and release it, the day of the football game, and people send it to their friends or they post it on their Facebook, and and there's a video. I'm gonna film the two boys and say what they say, and it's not gonna be a real long video. It's only gonna be like maybe 30 seconds, if that. Jesse, does she know how to edit video? I'm sure she does. If she knows how to do pictures, I'm sure she knows how to do video. Because I may need to you to help me with your talent, Sammy. Because me, I don't have a clue. Oh, excuse me. That damn coffee. Seems like every time I drink my last cup of coffee, it's talking back at me and making me burp. No, Sammy. You know I'm picking on your ass about that because I know it just you just light up and you just want to attack whenever I say something, and I did that on purpose, just to get you to react the way you do. I know you don't. I know you don't use a filter because you talked about it, and then and when you show a new photo, oh, you you know you edited that photo. I just do it because I know it was going to piss you off. Well, I'm saying that because I know it aggravates the piss out of you. But for you to take me seriously, you shouldn't because I'm just throwing it out there to be funny. I don't believe it. There's a scale house that's open, and I got to pull in it. It's been a while since that's happened. Yep, it's open. I'm not going to take the camera down, but I do have to take my headset off. You'll still might be able to hear me talk, but well, hell, I can't hear anything because there's nobody on the panel. But I will have to end here soon because I hope they don't. They can when they roll me across the scale, they can say, "All right, park it, bring in your paperwork and your manifests and everything." I'm like, all right, but they're rolling a lot of us through here anyway. Oh, they just give you a red light, and there's a sign there that says that. Well, I don't have to go in. Thank God. Thanks for giving me good luck, Sammy. You're still here. Back in my dad's day, they call these the chicken coop. Now we just call them scale house because it's a small building to the right. And at one time, in my dad's day, it did. It looked like a chicken coop from the outside. Sammy, did I send you that video of that guy with the stick in his hand looking at that rooster? And you hear the guy's voice saying, "Oh, he's a bullshit," and the chicken chases after him, and he jumps into that tree and falls down the hill. I thought that was hilarious. Rooster chased after his chicken. He ran from that chicken. Hi, Georgie. I'm alive. I'm still around, just not as much as I normally am. I'm still trucking along, and I'm usually asleep when everybody else that I'm friends with do live streaming, and I miss it. And I can't karaoke anyway until I get home to pick up my new K1. It got delivered yesterday, but as soon as I pass by my house, that's the first thing I'm going to be after is that. I want to get my K1, and I can start karaokeing again, maybe. All I know is I'm going to unzip my fly and let my tongue hang out. I'm not going to do any more Purdy songs anymore because nobody was really paying attention to that anyway. So I'll give them something that'll really get them to pay attention to. Became a Wheeler Walker Jr. fan. I was like, oh, I'm going to karaoke a lot of these tunes. The one I want to do first is called Dump Truck. I like a woman with a dump truck. I'm in Kentucky. See, Sammy was up here on the panel, and she could have sang Kentucky Rain, but I think she got mad and left. And there's no rain in Kentucky. It's clear skies, beautiful, but it's It's colder than a three-peckered belly goat. Yeah, I'm in the middle of Kentucky. I am 87 miles from Tennessee and about 100 miles from Nashville. Bachelorette capital of the world, music city capital of the world. A lot of what I've learned is a lot of your celebrities that are in music, regardless if they're hip hop, country, rock, all of it. A lot of them live in the Nashville area now. They don't live out in Beverly Hills. Now, don't get me wrong. There's still some that live out in Beverly Hills, but the majority of them moved here, and I don't know why. Because I know Meatloaf, Marvin Lee Ade, lived in Texas, and he moved to Nashville 20 years ago. Because when they had his funeral and buried him, it was like it was in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm like, what? I didn't know he lived in Nashville. But if you want a good song to listen to, it is of the country music flavor, Georgie. When you leave the live stream, or when you got time, in the search field of YT, type in Wheeler Walker Jr. and type in that name and then dump truck and listen to the song and watch the video. I think that's a cool tune. Now, he does it because it's well written music, but it's unchained. And it has a lot of comic flavor to it too. But it makes a statement. He says out loud what most men won't say. Like, for instance, you go to a nightclub in Nashville and they dress like they do in his video there. They're wearing cut off booty shorts with cowboy boots. And a lot of men seeing women in the club dressed like that, that's what they're thinking. And knowing a man, yeah, I'm not going to lie either. And in that song Dump Truck, he just lets it hang out what men are thinking at a club where women dress like that. And I know, I'm not sure Sammy understands it, but I know you do, Georgie, because you lived here in the States, to understand that we Americans are famous for using what we call metaphors. Metaphors is a word used in place of something else. Instead of the obvious, we'll disguise it as another word. When it comes to women's body parts, I'm not saying which, when it comes to women's body parts, we men have come up with hundreds of different metaphors for them. Like a woman's rear end. If you want to be scientific, it's called gluteus maximus. Sounds like something from the movie Gladiator. That's the professional scientific term for it. Today, the typical one is ass, or depending on who you're talking to, booty. Well, he changed it for dump truck. Back in the 80s, 90s, it was, oh, that girl's got a lot of junk in the trunk. And for a man to say that he doesn't like a woman with a lot of junk in the trunk is probably gay. Because the girls in that video dump truck, a lot of guys, if they were there in person, they'd be like, their tongues would be sticking out or dragging on the floor. And I'm at my at the Petro, and instead of up in shit, the hell with that, I'll keep it going. You guys can see me walking to the truck stop, and now I admit this. I've done it to Sammy before, but I won't do it to you guys. I've taken Sammy into the men's room many a time. You couldn't see shit. You could hear it, but you can't see anything. All right, I gotta set the headset down. I'll be right back. Wow, how you doing, Sess? I think I saw Sess like a month ago on somebody else's live stream, but I haven't seen her in ages. She used to do live streaming all the time. Memory serves me, she married a German gentleman, same height and size as me. She married Godzilla. She's one of the brave few Filipinas I met. Ugh, that married a giant. At least, I think, Seth, that is you. You did marry a large German man. I'm trying to remember. But you had a nice house, if you still have it there in the Philippines. You were up on a hill, and down the hill was the beach. I am going to park over here because I got to check out my hours of service here. But Sess, wow, it's good to see you still up around there. Glad to see you. I think wasn't it Darren Dobson's that you were in? I believe it was Darren's. I'm getting sick and tired of this. This thing doesn't want to update. Oh, okay, I see it now. Okay, I got 3 hours and 6 minutes. 11, 12, 1, 2. I got to get shut down before 2 o'clock. So I'm going to keep her going. 462 miles away from my 90, which is Macon, Georgia. As you would hear in the movie Smoking the Bandit. This is Georgia, son. You know, trucking no Coors beer across state lines is bootlegging. I know Sammy heard that line not too long ago. What was that, about a year ago? You watched that movie with Naki? Smokey and the Bandit? Did everybody abandon me in this live stream? I just went in and had to use the comfort room, take a 10-100, and to choke and puke, and get me another cup of coffee. I was thirsty. Oh, Seth must have left us. She didn't get to hear me say that, hey, it's great to see you. But memory serves me, she married a German gentleman that's 6'5" like me. I make the joke. She married a Godzilla man. Compared to her size. Yeah, I'm just going to go a few more minutes, unless something drastic happens that keeps me here. Other than that, I'll be ending here in about 10 minutes, guys. Because I don't want to blow my 20 hours like that and have to wait a whole month before I can do another live stream. Because you never know what's going to happen in the next few days. Yeah, something else stupid and dumb is going to be said and embarrass the hell out of me, which I have every right to scream as loud as I want because I am sick and tired of somebody that has a mouthpiece like his and gets to insult everybody, embarrass the hell out of me. And I got to go behind him with a diaper and say, this guy is not speaking for me and embarrassing me. I don't. I got to see him, I believe, a few times, but I never got to talk to him, Sammy. And I remember the videos she used to do in her house. She did a hell of a job. She did that expansion. I think it was like an outdoor barbecue place. I mean, it was great. And if memory serves, she has a red motorcycle like yours, Sammy. I could be wrong, but if memory serves me, it was red. Sammy, they live. She lives on the same island as you. But she lives closer to Dumageddon. I know she don't live in any town, or she lives like right outside the town because that's a nice place she had. I remember the videos. I'm like, shoot, man, that was like 3 years ago. Sammy, they still live there, right? Or did they move to Germany? Because I know Cliff and Rue just built that house about a year ago, and but they're going to be moving to Indianapolis, Indiana. And I'm like, Cliff, you're going to be living about an hour from me. Where I live, to drive to Indianapolis is nothing. They're traveling ATM. I don't understand. Oh, at the moment. Now I get it. I see ATM, that can mean different things. Now, ATM, automated teller machine, where you get money out of. Or in the trucking world, it's the same thing, the automated teller machine, but we call it an ass thrusting machine. We call it that because of the fees they charge us to get our own money out. Yeah, I figured it out there before you typed it. Because they screw you with the damn fees for taking your money out of your own account. That's why I would change it to ass thrusting machine. Let's see here. I got 3 hours left. I get parked by 2 o'clock. I'm good. I should make the TA in Antioch. That's just south of Nashville. It's right next to Laverne. Uh-oh. Phew. I knew I'm coming close. Because tomorrow I got to fight to get around Atlanta on the Watermelon 500. And then once I do that, then it's no problem to get from Macon to there. But getting around Atlanta is just disaster. And hopefully I can get it done before rush hour, but it's going to be tight. You know, Sammy, if you were on the panel, you wouldn't have to type anything and get cramps in your hands. You could actually say it instead of typing it. that's that's why see I can't type crap, so that's why I prefer coming up on the panel and just talking. It's so much easier, and hopefully I don't get as misunderstood either. What do you mean no StreamYard? You got the link. You were up here a minute ago, a couple hours ago, but you left. Okay, hang on. Let me see if I can still copy and paste it, or I have to recopy it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to recopy it. There we go. Oh, come on, man. There we go. Oi!
Buang.
What does that mean? I hear that word a lot. I don't know what it means though.
Crazy. Crazy, silly. That's you. Buang.
I'm not crazy. I might be silly, but not crazy.
Yeah, you're crazy. I thought that you're going to end your live stream na. It take live
No,
stream so long.
if I have people coming in, you rejoin the panel. What the hell? Just keep it going. Why not?
What the hell?
If I can get a full panel, I might go ahead and buy the subscription to have 10 people up on my panel. But that's the only reason why I didn't renew it is because I can never get that many people on my panel to begin with.
It because why you have a lot of why you don't have a lot of people? You know?
because they don't like
Did
me.
you ask that to yourself?
Yeah, because people typically don't like me.
Yeah.
They may
No.
respect me, but they don't like
They
me.
like you. They like you, but they don't like what you are sharing. And I told you that before, long time ago. And you didn't
What?
listen to me, so that's your fucking
Sharing
problem, though.
sharing useful information?
Mm. They know about that shit, so they don't like to hear it no more. They come over here to hang out, to have fun, not to talk about that shit, not to talk about problems. Fucking
Uh,
hell.
I- but that's what's bothering everybody. But I get to the core issue and I explain it to them. I help. I give out useful information.
They know already that. They know already about the mess. They
Well, they
come
know
over
about the
here in a
mess,
live
but they
stream
don't.
to a friend in YouTube to hang out, to have fun, to laugh,
Yeah,
something like that. Not to, oh my gosh.
they know about the mess, but they don't have answers to it.
It's because they don't care. Only they care is how they can survive every day in their daily life. That's it.
Then I have answers to that.
No.
But some people
Christian,
that
please
don't
don't
really like it.
uh, please don't let argue on that. My God,
I'm not arguing. We're
I'm
talking.
going to step down again. They're not coming back no more. I don't like to talk about it. Gonna spunk your ass there. You want me to spread your legs over there and then unzip you? Fucking no.
Here, drive my truck. Hold the steering wheel for a while. Man,
Yeah. Steady. I know JC is laughing out loud over there while working. I know he's listening.
well, I'm always listening. I'm at work.
No, I'm saying JC. Oh, fucking.
Get the StreamYard going, just mount the phone, hands free, and do my job.
What is your job?
To get the transport these dead chickens from one
Me?
location to the other in a safe manner.
Mine is blue. That is my job. Blue.
But I
JC.
but I have what they call chicken tits, chicken breasts, but the same thing. Chicken breasts, chicken tits, same thing.
Nipples.
Well, I like that part of the chicken and the turkey.
Yeah, JC is laughing over the word.
That and I like if I was going to be watching a football game, I like the drumettes. It looks like a miniature drumstick, but it's part of the wing, and it's the like the bicep part of the wing, and only has one bone and not two of the wing. They call them drumettes. Those are really good. You only get a couple of bites out of them, and then you got to grab another one.
Mm-hmm.
That'll give me an hour. Yeah, I should make it to that TA in Antioch and have an hour left over drive time, but I'm just going to go ahead and shut it down for 10. Get an earlier start tonight and get in there and deliver these chickens. And there's a nice Love's truck stop just down the street from where I deliver this.
Mm-hmm. I'm sleepy. I heard that Big Wins lost last night. Mm.
Holy
It
shit!
means,
See all that? See all that snow blow off that guy's truck? Smashed all over the road here, ice and snow.
mm-hmm. Read what this is saying. Oh,
But Queens, I don't know what that is.
yeah, me too.
I do not know.
You did it. No.
Like I
Oh,
said, I
massive
don't
no
know every.
either.
I never claimed I knew everything.
You always know everything.
No,
You think that you are perfect, but you're not.
I never said I was perfect.
Vikings. Ah, Vikings. Sally Jesse.
Yeah, but they ended that. They did a pre-sequel series called Vikings Valhalla. I don't know how it ended. I saw like you think the first season of it, and that was it. Just like they did House of Dragon. It's a pre-sequel of Game of Thrones.
Mhm.
And there was a lot of open sex in that show. First few seasons, but the actress Emily Clark wanted to tone that down, which I agree with her. That was okay. I mean, because and it was almost like watching a porno in certain parts.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they even had former adult film stars having roles in that show because it's right up their alley. It's a sex scene. Okay, they're in a brothel. Just have a couple of adult film stars do that, fill them roles, and they did. There was a couple of them. But believe it or not, that's what drew a lot of people into watching that show initially because everybody was talking about it. It was a good show. I read the books and I was wondering how they were going to do those parts. And sure enough, they added some of them. And man, everybody just, that's why that show was big the first few seasons. And when Emily Clark complained and they toned down the sex, well, there wasn't that many people watching as much as they used to. Me, I was just curious how they were going to handle the situation. You know, getting the Emily Clark character that dating her nephew and having sex with him, let alone a brother and sister having an incestual relationship too. But that was common in medieval times anyway. But typically people of today wouldn't like that too much. But the thing is, they didn't. The Emily Clark character and Jon Snow, they did not know that they were related, and they were like, man, you're banging your aunt, man. What's the matter with you?
Yeah.
If that was today's standard, you just found out, oh, you just had sex with your aunt. I'd want to throw up. It's like, oh, that ain't gonna happen again.
Christian, I start getting tired, Christian.
Okay. So you've been in bed the whole time you joined my live stream.
Mm-hmm.
I thought so. And look at that, man. I could have took you to the men's room, but I didn't.
Where you are? What you are expecting? Where am I? I'm always
I'm
in bed.
well. Get
I'm
out of
always in
bed.
bed, touching myself.
Well, at least you got the camera off.
Yeah, that's why I turn off my camera because I'm touching myself.
Who are you thinking about while you do that?
What?
Well, you got raunchy, so I'm going to ask a raunchy question. Who are you thinking about when you're doing that?
I'm so sorry I wasn't answer that kind of private matters because
You won't ask private matters, but you just get relinquished what you're doing, and that's a private matter.
I don't care. I don't care. I just don't. I don't like to share who's I'm thinking because I know to myself and then he know to himself that I'm thinking of him.
You
Stop.
can't get you can't get mad at me because I just backed you into a corner.
Don't be nasty on me, kuya. Because if you meet me in person, you have a big trouble.
Well, too bad it didn't happen this time either. I was
Yeah,
getting
I
real
will
close.
bring you
Well,
in the
close.
restaurant. I will bring you in the restaurant that or in Ground Zero, and then unzip you over there, and then kneel down. Are
You
you
take me to
talking
ground
about
zero.
Trump joke? Joke.
I go I go to ground zero. I'll be looking for Bell Dog.
Oh, Paul Oldog have operation to his eye again.
Yeah, cataract surgery.
No, removing the eye bags.
Well, that too, but he did have cataract. I knew he was having cataract surgery.
He messaged me earlier. I said, "Hey Sammy, did you see my video upload? I just done my surgery."
Yeah, he looks
I
like a
said, "What
raccoon.
kind of surgery?" Removing my lower eye bag. I say, "What the fuck?" And then I watch the video and then I message him, "Oh my god, get Wilson kuya. You looks like you are in 3 rounds in boxing ring."
Yeah,
You
but give
know?
him in a month, he's going to look great. And the good thing is, he can finally see. He's going to look at you and say, "Oh, Jesus, I can see now."
If we can talk in Messenger tomorrow maybe or maybe tomorrow or next day, I will tell you something what he say.
Any plans
Not
to you doing a live stream with him?
not here in the live stream. No.
Why not? The two of you should have done at least a couple by now.
Holy fuck. Stop it. You know what he is. What do you call that one?
Yeah, but he'll boost your channel. He's got a lot of people that come to
But I
his.
don't like that. I don't like that baby me will going to get crazy jealous on me. Okay, Nel.
There's no need for that to happen.
I don't know.
But he don't live too far from Ground Zero.
A little bit far.
Oh, so it
They are
is.
in upper Valencia. They're living in the mountain.
Oh, so they live outside of Dumagetti.
They're living in the mountain. Jesse, don't laugh again there, huh? Mountain.
Oh, she's thinking about Trump? Really? You want that mushroom dick, Sammy? Come on.
Fucking hell, no way.
He's a billionaire, though. But man, Stormy Daniels, man, what does she got to lie about? She described it
But
in the
I
book.
don't care.
She's got a
I don't
mushroom
care
dick.
if I don't care if it looks like a mushroom dick. I don't care. The most important, if we love each other, why not? It is what it is. That's what he have. So, you know. But to the person that I was thinking, I was always thinking almost every day for a long time now. Oh, he have a huge, nice fucking dick.
Well, if I ever got to meet him, was in a crowd and entertaining a crowd, I'd
Mm-hmm.
make sure I have a pair of battery operated electric shears on me. Had him on the back. Take the electric shears, start from his forehead, and go all the way to the middle down his head. Shave a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of that hair that he's got combed over to cover up the bald spot. Do that real quick and say, "Somebody looks fabulous."
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, here's Horse Cave. I was here.
Oh
I was
god.
here.
Yeah.
I was here 3 days ago and got a load of Marzettis a couple miles from here and took it up to Columbus, Ohio. I don't see any horses. Now, Peep said there is a cave around here, but I don't know where it's at because I haven't seen it.
You already seen the horse.
There's no horses here. I
You
ain't seen
already
not one horse.
Yeah, you already seen a horse. Every time that you call me, you are talking to the horse.
Oh, jeez.
I got you there.
Wait. If I got off at that exit and went to the right, that there's a big shopping center that's completely empty. Now I'll get back to that in a minute. If I went left, there's a Love's truck stop, and I'd go a mile and a half, and I'd take me to that Marzetti's place where I got that load took to Columbus. Well, anyway, if I got off that exit, made a right, and went to that plaza, it's completely empty. It's like a outdoor shopping mall, but it's completely empty. And they blame it on the adult store that was there. And the adult store, they took over a lot of the stores next to them, and they were the only thing there. There was plenty of truck parking there, and
Mm-hmm.
it was an adult store. If you're into synthetic rubber and everything, and you needed a new dildo, a vibrator, that's the place to go. But it
Okay,
closed
now.
down. It closed down about a year ago, though.
I don't like to waste my money for that.
Yeah, a couple of my students got their contracts canceled from Prime and had to leave because of what they did. I said, you may not want to do that. People call in, take a photo, and show it to them, and it looks bad for the company. I said, now, if you didn't have the company name on the side of your truck, then you'd probably have no problem with doing it because they wouldn't know except for looking at what trailer you have on. You might be able to get away with it then, but two of them did it. Two of my former students.
You can still hear me?
Yeah, what my students did is they went in those stores and they bought the biggest dildo they could find. And Danny got one that was just totally freaking massive, okay? And it had a giant suction cup on it. And the traffic was pissing him off out here on the interstate somewhere. I think it was somewhere in Texas. He took that dildo out and smacked it on the side of his sleeper and stuck it there. And it stayed there. And everybody that was passing him could see this giant dildo from the side of his truck. He told me about it. I'm like, oh, Danny, you didn't do that. Yep, because I'm no longer with Prime now.
Really?
I said, man, what would happen? Like I said, you get an elderly woman driving her car, and she sees that, she could have a heart attack while driving and then cause a bad accident. I said, I mean, I'm laughing at it because yeah, it is funny, but I'd never do that. It's a hell of a thought, but I'd never do it because what you do out here can have repercussions. But I'm like, Danny, did you get a photo or a video of you doing that? 'Cause I would have liked to have seen that. He goes, oh, there were some ladies that were tooting the horn at me and going, hey, can I have that? I'm like, Danny, how much did it cost you? He goes, oh, it cost me $180. And I'm like, $180? He goes, Sean, you don't understand. That thing was huge. He goes, it weighed like 20 pounds. And I'm like, no wonder why Western women are all reeked out. Man, men are not built that way, ladies.
Anyway, Kuya Sean, I need to go now, Kuya Sean.
All right. I'm going to end it because there's only one person left in here anyway. Thanks for coming, you guys. I appreciate it. See you later, Sammy. Bye, guys.
Yeah,